The 1950s is remembered as a decade of bold, brutalist architecture and some of the most eye-catching automobiles ever built. With the post-war economy booming, families were eager to fill their driveways with shiny new possessions, and automakers competed hard to build the flashiest, most glamorous cars they could. But not every design from the era aged well. Some were downright beautiful, while others were, frankly, ugly. Here are 13 of the worst American cars of the 1950s.
Nash Rambler. The Rambler is widely credited as America's first successful compact car, though its popularity had little to do with looks. Built by the Nash Kelvinator Corporation, its shape reflected an odd mix of automotive engineering and appliance design. Nash's engineers handled the mechanics, but the styling carried the unmistakable fingerprints of Kelvinator's refrigerator division. When it launched in 1949, the Rambler carried over the skirted bathtub body style that had first appeared on Nash's larger cars, but shrunk down onto a compact frame, the look came across as awkward. Its enclosed front wheels and rounded contours gave it a playful, almost toy-like quality that didn't sit well with American buyers who equated bigger cars with higher status. The Rambler was built from 1950 to 1954 under Nash Motors, part of Nash Kelvinator, and continued production through 1955 after the 1954 merger with Hudson created American Motors Corporation. It carved out a real niche as the first modern American compact, able to seat 5 comfortably. Power came from Nash's dependable 172.6 cubic inch 6-cylinder engine making 82 horsepower, riding on a 100-inch wheelbase, with buyers able to choose manual or automatic transmission. Despite its solid engineering and its role in pioneering the compact segment, the Rambler took its share of criticism for styling that felt out of step once shrunk down from the full-size models it borrowed from.
1950 Studebaker Starlight Coupe. Now this model holds a pretty strange place in automotive history, mainly for a design that inspired equal parts fascination and controversy. It was built by Studebaker between 1947 and 1955 as part of the Champion and Commander lineups. It was penned by Virgil Exner, formerly of Raymond Loewy's studio, and it really embraced that post-war pontoon fender look. What people remember most is its bizarre profile. It's often described as looking like 2 cars driving in opposite directions at once, an effect created by an elongated hood-like rear deck that looks like the nose of an airplane. Its most talked about feature, though, was the wraparound rear window. It was a sharp break from convention. Instead of separate side glass, the Starlight Coupe used 4 fixed panes to create a panoramic effect, one that left onlookers unsure which way the car was even facing. Mechanically, it rode a 113-inch wheelbase and used an inline flathead 6 making 85 horsepower, paired with Studebaker's own automatic transmission and 4-wheel hydraulic drum brakes. Even so, the avant-garde styling really split opinion. Some called it futuristic, while others found the two-way appearance simply confusing, and critics noted it strayed pretty far from the traditional teardrop shapes of the day. 1952, Nash Healey. This was a joint venture between Nash Kelvinator and Britain's Donald Healey Motor Company, running from 1950 to 1954, meant to blend American muscle with British craftsmanship in a luxury sports car. Early cars used Nash's Ambassador drivetrain in a chassis and body designed by Healey. But the biggest shift came in 1952 when famed Italian designer Battista Pininfarina was brought on to restyle it. His influence was significant and controversial. The aluminum-bodied Roadster got a lower one-piece windshield and pronounced rear fender bulges. But the biggest talking point was the grille and headlights mounted at the leading edge of the front fenders, which gave the car a strange look, some compared to a vehicle mid-bite of swallowing another car. Even with the divided opinions on looks, the Nash Healey earned real racing credibility, taking a class win at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1952 and finishing 3rd overall behind Ferrari and Talbot. 2 engines were offered over its run. 1951-52 cars got Nash's dual Jetfire, overhead valve, inline 6, making 125 horsepower from 234 cubic inches, while later cars got the Le Mans Tune dual Jetfire 6, making 140 horsepower from 252 cubic inches. Strong track results aside, the car's unusual grille and headlight placement kept it from winning over everyday buyers.
1954 Buick Special. Part of Buick's second-generation Special lineup, built from 1949 to 1955, this era of Buick is generally remembered for handsome styling and strong engines. The mid-50s Specials are often ranked among GM's best-looking cars, with signature front fender portholes and gently sculpted rear wheel arches. The 1954 model's front end, though, drew mixed reactions, criticized for droopy headlight eyelids and a grille that seemed to grimace, giving the car an almost gloomy expression, some jokingly compared to Marvin the paranoid android. Even so, the 1954 Special had plenty going for it, with sedan, coupe, and convertible body styles to suit different buyers. Under the hood sat the Fireball V8, displacing 264 cubic inches and producing about 143 horsepower, paired with an automatic transmission for easy, relaxed driving. Buick took the criticism seriously. By 1955, a substantial front-end redesign addressed the complaints and helped restore the line's appeal. 1955 BMW Isetta. This tiny bubble car, built under license by BMW from 1955 to 1962 from an Italian design by Iso Rivolta, holds an unusual place in automotive history. At just 2.29 meters long and 1.37 meters wide, its egg-shaped body and bubble-style windows made it instantly recognizable and gave it its nickname. Its most unusual feature was a front-hinged door that also carried the steering column with it when opened, an innovative, if quirky solution that made the tiny car easy to park and maneuver on crowded city streets. Inside sat a single bench seat for two, with room behind for a spare tire on a wide parcel shelf, plus a fabric sunroof intended to double as an emergency exit. Power came from a tiny 236cc, 9 to 12 horsepower two-stroke split single engine mated to a 4-speed manual gearbox with reverse. Fuel economy was the Isetta's real strength. In 1955, it became the first mass-produced car in the world to achieve 3 liters per 100 kilometers. Practical as it was, its bug-like bulbous shape divided opinion, drawing both praise for efficiency and mockery for its looks. 1958 Edsel. Designed in an era of bold American styling, the Edsel stood out even by 1950 standards for how polarizing it was. Whether in the larger Citation and Corsair trims or the smaller Ranger and Pacer, every Edsel wore the same widely mocked vertical grille and wide-set headlights, publicly compared to a horse collar and compared to far less flattering things in private. The convertible's proportions in particular drew skepticism about structural soundness, and the oversized convex quarter panels only added to its awkward silhouette. Beyond looks, the Edsel also struggled with build quality complaints, which compounded its poor reputation. Named for Edsel Ford, Henry Ford's son, the car was meant to help Ford take on Chrysler and GM for a bigger slice of the market, but public reaction to the styling doomed it almost immediately. Even with a full range of engines, from economical inline-sixes to powerful V8s, the Edsel never won consumers over, and its brief 3-year run from 1958 to 1960 became a lasting lesson in how badly a market gamble can miss. 1956 Studebaker Hawk. This series followed the celebrated 1953 Studebakers, designed by Robert Burke at Raymond Loewy's studio, cars praised for their clean, striking lines. The 1956 refresh took a sharp turn stylistically, adding a distinctive tombstone grille that clashed with the smooth surfaces of its predecessor. That grille became the car's defining trait, but reactions were mixed given how unconventional it looked, and heavy chrome trim added clutter rather than elegance. Small tail fins on the 56 were also criticized as too small to serve any real purpose, while still throwing off the car's visual balance. Under the hood, the Hawk lineup offered several engines. The flagship Golden Hawk ran a 352 cubic inch Packard V8, making 275 horsepower, making it one of the quickest cars of its day. The Skyhawk used a 289 cubic inch V8 with 210 horsepower. The more budget-friendly Powerhawk got a 259 cubic inch V8 making 170 horsepower, and the entry-level Flighthawk used Studebaker's own 101 horsepower straight six. Despite the range of capable engines, buyers and critics alike took issue with the styling.
The tombstone grille, excessive chrome, and undersized fins just didn't match what shoppers wanted from a sleek, cohesive design. Later versions, including the 1958 Golden Hawk with its supercharged V8, kept the debate alive, with many feeling the flashy details cheapened an otherwise strong car.
1958 Oldsmobile 98. Built during a period when GM leaned hard into flamboyant styling, the 98 pushed the trend to an extreme. Chrome trim covered the car front to back, appealing to some but overwhelming to plenty of others, and the overall trim layout came across as visually cluttered rather than cohesive. The headlights carried an unusual speed streak design that split opinion between bold and simply over the top, while ribbed trim along the quarter panels, resembling model train rails, added even more visual noise without adding much appeal. On the trunk lid, an assortment of oddly shaped chrome pieces sat with little apparent design logic behind their placement. Mechanically, the 98 offered a range of capable V8 engines, even if the sheer weight of all that chrome trim likely dragged on performance. Despite the strong engines and forward-looking features, the 1958 Oldsmobile 98 became known as one of the most visually over-the-top cars of its time, thanks to its heavy chrome, busy lines, and jarring styling touches. 1959 Ford Anglia. With its odd proportions and unusual styling, the Anglia soldiered on for nearly a decade despite public skepticism. Its sagging roofline, reverse-slanted rear window, and stubby trunk combined into an unusual silhouette that puzzled onlookers, and, some joked, gave Britons one more reason to prefer public transit. Built from 1959 to 1967, the Anglia 105E marked a major milestone as Ford's first significant product out of its Birmingham design center, where designer Elwood Engel scaled down styling cues from the Thunderbird to fit a small compact car. Its distinctive front end and reversed rear window gave it a quirky, unmistakable character. Inside, it seated four with front bucket seats and a rear bench, prioritizing everyday usefulness over luxury. Power came from a fuel-efficient 1.0-liter Kent engine, making a modest 39 horsepower, sent through a 4-speed manual to a top speed of about 75 miles per hour. Odd looks aside, the Anglia's affordability and practicality made it a common sight on British roads for years. 1959 Studebaker Lark. Introduced as a budget-minded alternative to bigger cars, the Lark's styling reflected its cost-conscious roots, enough that it earned the unofficial nickname Studebaker for its unusual look. Built from 1959 to 1961 under the Studebaker-Packard Corporation, the name reverted to simply Studebaker Corporation in mid-1962, the Lark cleverly reused the body shells of Studebaker's full-size cars from 1953 to 1958 to keep costs down. Visually, it broke from the norms of American car design of the time with a somewhat lopsided look. It came in two-door coupe, convertible, sedan, and station wagon forms, seated up to 6, and offered generous cargo space despite its compact footprint. Buyers could choose a 6-cylinder Lark 6 or 8-cylinder Lark 8, with fuel economy ranging from 16 to 23 miles per gallon depending on how it was driven. The V8 versions, though, drew complaints for understeer caused by their added front-end weight, and the overall design felt dated next to rivals, a problem that made it hard to compete with the rising popularity of Rambler models. 1953 Kaiser Dragon. Introduced by Kaiser Motors Corporation as a distinctive trim of their second-generation cars, the Dragon stood out for its unusual design touches, including a double-arch windshield and a signature dip along the rear doors that set Kaiser's cars apart from the rest of the era's lineup. But it was the 53 Dragon in particular that pushed styling furthest. Its exterior featured an embossed padded vinyl roof made to resemble dragon skin, giving the car a textured, unusual look, while gold trim accents and an interior with a pen and ink bamboo pattern stitched into the vinyl upholstery added to the luxury theme. These choices split opinions sharply between admiration and ridicule. Positioned above the Manhattan in Kaiser's lineup, the Dragon was sold only as a 4-door sedan aimed at comfort and elegance, with standard features including a Hydra-matic automatic transmission, power steering, an electric clock, and a rear speaker radio.
Inside, front and rear armrests, numerous courtesy lights, a heater, tinted glass, and even 14-karat gold-plated hood ornaments and fender nameplates rounded out the package, along with personalized nameplates on the glove box for a bespoke touch. Power came from a 226 cubic inch 6, making 118 horsepower. Some sources cite closer to 24 additional horsepower, depending on tuning. Even with all its luxury touches, the Dragon's bold design and gold trim divided buyers, and its steep price compared to rivals like the Buick Roadmaster limited its sales success.
Hudson Jet. Arriving partway through the 1953 model year, the Jet was Hudson's answer to the growing compact segment and a direct rival to the popular Nash Rambler. Hudson had built a reputation for automotive firsts, enclosed cabins, left-side steering, self-starters, and dual brake systems, and brought that legacy to the Jet. It shared basic suspension and chassis design with Hudson's larger cars built from 1946 to 1957, using coil springs up front, leaf springs in back, and tubular shocks, though it departed from Hudson's signature low step-down body design. It rode a 105-inch wheelbase and featured one-piece glass for both the windshield and the rear window. Detailed factory specs are hard to come by today, but the Jet generally upheld Hudson's engineering standards. Even so, it struggled against a broader downturn in compact car sales during the early 50s and never came close to matching the Rambler's success, a disappointing outcome given Hudson's strong engineering heritage.
Kaiser Darren. Officially the Kaiser Darren 161, this car was designed by Howard Dutch Darren and built by Kaiser Motors for the 1954 model year, notable above all for its innovative construction. Its fiberglass body made it only the second American production car, after the 1953 Corvette, to use the material. Its most memorable feature was a pair of sliding doors that tucked smoothly into the front fenders, giving the car a sleek, unusual profile. Performance, though, didn't match the styling ambition. Power came from a 161 cubic inch F-head 6, making just 90 horsepower, paired with a 3-speed manual with overdrive, leaving it well behind European rivals like the Nash Healey and Triumph TR2. Production was tiny, with only 435 cars built, plus 6 prototypes, brought to an early end by Kaiser's financial troubles and a damaging snowstorm that destroyed a significant number of finished cars. Its high price limited its appeal further, and growing doubts about Kaiser's long-term future didn't help buyer confidence. The sliding doors, while clever, also created practical headaches in everyday use. In the end, the Darren's striking design couldn't make up for its underwhelming performance against European competition, leaving it remembered as an ambitious but flawed piece of automotive history.
These 13 cars capture a decade of bold ambition and mixed results. Underpowered engines, impractical features, and styling swings that didn't always land, all part of a golden age of American automotive experimentation. Which of these designs surprised you most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more automotive history.